there's anything that you really do want to put your hand up and object against, then do so. But yeah, let's crack through the talks and then chat later.
That's what we're doing. Well, thank you very much, Dave, for inviting me to speak this evening, and Nick. And well, thank you for the applause. Thank you everyone for coming this evening. I hope that the next 10 to 15 minutes will be useful and you'll take away something from it. I won't bore you with the details of our company. My name is Manas. I work with my business partner, Todd Lewis. We are co-founders and partners of Data Demons. We are an analytics and analytics consulting company, and we help small and medium-sized businesses get on this maturity ladder on their BI and analytics journey. So that having said, we're going to dive right in. This was at an Italian restaurant in Boston. Todd had had a few too many beers, and he said, "Manas, you know, running a business is like juggling. You've got all these balls in the air. You've got sales, marketing, HR, and everything. And now it looks like analytics has been added to another one of to this juggle as well. So you've not only got sales, marketing, but analytics, and your BI strategy is part of this juggling act that you have to do." And Todd was absolutely right. And if there's any doubt about the importance of how to measure, how important it is to get a handle on all of the data that you're generating and how to effectively socialize and visualize that data, you only need to look at the recent couple of headlines. Salesforce having bought Tableau for $15 billion, Google having bought Looker for $2.6 billion. That's all because there's this real pain point, and people realize that there's a need for not only just having the data, but being able to visualize it effectively as well to generate insights. So in this presentation, I want to go through three fundamental compartments or boxes that as consultants we like to look at when setting our customers up for growth and getting the most out of the data. The first thing is looking at metrics and KPIs. And we're going to look at metrics and KPIs from a SaaS perspective. And what typically makes a SaaS or a subscription business different to a traditional business is that you don't get all of the money from the customer at the point of first sale. You get $100 month one, $100 month two, and so on and so forth. And also, typically, in a SaaS or subscription business, stage one is acquisition, get people through the door, set them up with a trial, convert the trial, and then retain them, and then grow your recurring revenue. That's how your revenue pile grows to get that compounding effect. We still find a lot of organizations still looking at old school metrics, or metrics which are, let's just call them lagging indicators. And trial conversions is one of them. Now, it's in our top 5 favorite metrics to look at because it's still a good yardstick for how your business is performing. The challenge with trial conversions, of course, is if you look at last month's trial conversions, it only tells you how your marketing did 3, 4, 5 months ago. It's not very good at telling you how you're going to be doing a couple of months ahead. And that's where metrics like usage, customer retention rate, and the other side of the coin, revenue retention, come in. And those are the metrics that we really like to monitor, blend in with other data to visualize and to present to our clients as a real metric of how their business is doing. And the reason why we like usage in particular is, if you think about it, a customer signed up for a trial or has purchased a product already. If they're not using it, if they're not engaging with your product, then chances are they're just not seeing value in your product, which means that eventually, when it comes to convert to a sale, they're not going to do it because they didn't see any value in your proposition. Otherwise, if they're a customer, they're not going to renew very much longer because they've just kind of lost interest in your product or your service. And that's where the lifetime value, the cost of acquisition comes in as well. If you're, I like to explain lifetime value like this. You're generating $100 a month. A customer stays with you on average for 10 months. Your lifetime value is $1,000. If you are spending more than $1,000 to acquire each customer, that's not a good thing. If you're coming in under, and typically a benchmark that many analysts will quote will be your lifetime value should be 3 times what it costs you to acquire a customer, roughly. But that's an equation that you can use, but we find often organizations are just not monitoring these. So it's great to talk about these metrics, and you will find analysts and experts talking about all kinds of metrics, and everybody's got an opinion. But for us, the question often is trying to find out what's the best metric for your business or for your team. And that's where we get into this concept of a North Star metric. And we spend a lot of time talking to clients, trying to get to the bottom of and to agree on what a North Star metric should be for their organization. It's a leading indicator of business outcomes. A North Star metric should be that one indicator, that one number, or that one figure you look at, which encompasses things like, do we still have product market fit? Are our customers still seeing value in our product? And are we making a profit, or are we making money from what we're doing? Of course, by all means, report on all of the other metrics, but a North Star metric, putting thought into what a North Star metric is for an organization can reap dividends later on. And just as an example, I'm not going to talk to this slide, but these are some North Star metrics from brands and services that most of us, if not all of us, have used at some point, if not we use a lot of the time. The only one that I want to call out and talk about a little bit more in detail is the Facebook one. In the early days, Facebook was only interested in spreading its tentacles. How many people are Facebook users inviting to their Facebook profile? That was the North Star metric. That's all they cared about. Once they reached critical mass, though, it wasn't about growing the number of accounts. It was about looking at how many active users they have on a daily basis. So that's just to show that your North Star metric can change based on what level of maturity you are in your business. And these are all good things to keep in mind when you're a small business and you're growing and you need scalability. The next thing I want to touch on is data visualization. And my business partner Todd and I were in a Vietnamese restaurant in Dublin, and Todd had a few too many beers, and Todd said to me, you know what, Manas, data visualization as a name is a misnomer. And you know what, Todd is absolutely right. Visualization implies it's just creating pretty dashboards. But when we go into a project to start talking about what kind of a dashboard you need, we ask business questions, not necessarily analytics questions. And that's where this merge happens of business intelligence and analytics. It's not just about crunching numbers, but it's looking at how you can tell a compelling story with your data. With that said, the top 5 benefits or the edges that business intelligence tools like Tableau or Google Data Studio or Looker or Power BI can give you, I'll just list them out briefly, and if you have any questions, please do come up to me later on after the talk. Enabling self-serve analytics. It's a fantastic advantage. It's a little bit understated, but it goes a long way to helping create a data-driven culture in your organization. Making smarter decisions faster. You've got the data, you're able to crunch it, but if you can't socialize it in an efficient way and then gain those insights to help decision makers make decisions faster, then all of that data is wasted. Using a mix of styles, you might respond better to text, or you might think you respond better to visuals, but research says that most people respond to a mix of styles the best when digesting information. And BI tools help you produce these kinds of dashboards with a mix of styles based on what idea you're trying to put forward extremely efficiently. Accelerating what-if analysis. You're a small growing company, you want to create multiple scenarios. Doing it in a tool like Excel can be cumbersome, as well as you need an Excel Ninja to produce the kind of filters and parameters that are going to be needed to produce a complex model. BI tools, an investment in a BI strategy will just erase all of that friction straight off the bat. But by far, as an analyst, my favorite advantage of using a dedicated BI tool is that you can blend tremendous volumes of data and from multiple sources. So you could have your CRM system, your AdWords and your web analytics, and any other proprietary data sitting in CRVs, a backend data source like a MySQL server or something, which has got product usage information. And you can just start to imagine when you put all of this data together and blend it, what kind of insights you might be able to generate and causation and correlation you might be able to produce. I just thought I'd put this up here because the point I was trying to make was we need to move away from Excel hell. And this is a graphic that came up, and I really related to this. And I used to live and breathe this as an analyst previously in my career. So we've covered two things. We've covered metrics and KPIs. We've covered data visualization and the importance of BI tools. But there's one, and that covers maybe the technical side of things, the tool set, the data set. But there's one element that that is often overlooked. You think that you invest some time and money into buying the fancy tools, and your analytics strategy is going to take off. But it's not going to work if the leadership in the organization doesn't have faith in the BI vision that you're trying to propagate. And I hope that joke worked.
Yeah, worked.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I couldn't find a decent picture for human element. And I was like, that's 1987, would work. But yeah, in our experience with all of the projects that we've worked on as employees or as external consultants, when you have buy-in from the top down and you have executive sponsorship, it erases a lot of friction. It gives you, as an analyst or as an enabler or as someone in the front line who's trying to move things forward, it gives you a lot of leeway and a lot of space to make mistakes, to try different things, and to propagate this mindset. Because when you're growing, you're probably not going to get things right from the get-go. And you're going to need that space. So it's not said often enough, but we felt that it's a really important point to bring out when you're planning your analytics or BI strategy. And if you're looking, two things that have worked for us. One is, of course, looking at executive sponsorship early on at the beginning, and we will hear the phrase data truths come up later on in this evening as well. But that's also something that we work on at the beginning to try and assess what the ground realities are. The other tactic that's worked for us is, if there's been any resistance, try to get some small wins. This is just a generic growth hacking model that you just put in growth hacking model in Google, and there's a lot of these graphics come up. But if your organization is focused on a metric like revenue, it's difficult to start messing with that if it's in everybody's crosshairs. But there's an opportunity there to look at maybe acquisition or activation or referrals, to just look for some small, quick wins, socialize those wins, and then move on to bigger and bigger projects. And that's it. That's my 3 boxes in about 13 minutes. So I think I've done all right. And if I had to list 3 takeaways, thank you. That was the hardest slide. So, in no particular order, executive sponsorship. People don't talk about it enough. There's lots of articles about how important data is, but try to get buy-in from the decision makers right at the beginning, and you'll have a smooth ride. Data visualizations, it's not just about creating flashy dashboards, it's there to answer questions. Ask questions like, where's this dashboard going to be used? What kind of questions do salespeople want to ask? What's the agenda for your weekly meetings? Things like that. And the job of the dashboard is not just to make things look pretty, it's to answer questions, to create a compelling story about the past, the present and the future state of the business. And lastly, probably the most important, if you don't already have one, put the grunt work into identifying your business's North Star metric, and it will reap dividends for sure. So thank you very much. My name is Manas. Thanks for listening.
Cool, thank you, Manas. That's awesome. I think there's a few Excel ninjas here at Tug, and I know what